Welcome to another video from Let's Eat. Today we're going to look at online shopping and more specifically the pros and the cons of online shopping. What are the pros? Well, definitely for the supermarket, we can look at increased sales with minimum outlay. So they don't have to staff the online portal as much. You might need maybe a couple of IT staff, but for the sales that they can achieve with minimal effort, the website pretty much does the work for them. You don't need staff to operate it permanently. Good promotional sales. Some sales they'll have as online only. And this is, of course, to push people to try and go to the online portal. So that's a good benefit for people that do use the online option, but not so much for people that want in-store. The online options also quite often will have discounts for meeting a purchase minimum. So it's like, I guess, a bit of a rebate that you can get for a minimum purchase. Whereas obviously you can couple that with the online purchasing promotions that they will have as well. Now, online purchasing is a great option for people that are time poor. So if they don't have time to go to the grocery store and do an in-store purchase, then obviously using the website portal would be a good option for a way to be able to purchase their products, possibly get them delivered, and save a large amount of time if they're very busy. Probably one of the best points for online shopping is that it is a great option for people that are unable to get to a supermarket. For whatever reason, whether it could be the person might be disabled, they don't drive, they could be ill at the time, or they just can't lug a lot of the heavy items that they may want to purchase. If you're in a situation where you might want to get a few cases of Coca-Cola or something heavy and you can't lug it around, well, it will get delivered to your doorstep. So it makes it a little bit easier to move things around when you don't have to lug heavy items. So that's a number of the pros. Now we're going to look at the cons. Are there any cons? Yes, there are. Picking fruit and vegetables without much thought. Personally, I usually do in-store shopping, and I see how some of these guys will walk around and go get the fruit and veg. And because they've got time constraints, it doesn't matter whether any of the fruit or veggies that they pick is substandard. It's just bang, 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 get the job done as quick as I can and then move on to the next. If fruit and veg is bruised, marked in some way, or not really adequate, then you will still receive that item. You get substandard food. The supermarket has become a battleground. You've got people that quite often will move around with these literally double wide trolleys that you have to navigate with precision. They move around with speed and efficiency due to the fact that they've got time frames to meet, so it's very time precious, and often at the peril of the customer. They can bump into you. They don't really care too much. I've got a job to get done. So you lose a little bit of, I guess, the pleasure of just going in store and shopping at a leisurely pace and without having to worry about whether you're going to get hit in the arm or leg or something of that nature. That's added a little bit of an aspect which is a little less beneficial. In moving on from that, we talked about the race for staff to meet sensitive deadlines. Your personal space is also infringed on. And it's almost non-existent in lieu of meeting those time frames. You could be shopping for something, leaning over to pick out an item off a shelf, and next thing you know, you've got an arm coming over your shoulder without any sort of respect to you, without giving you your personal space, no sort of apology, just I need to do my job, I've got to get it done. And look, I understand that they've got pressure, so I don't blame the staff necessarily myself. I blame the procedure and the way that the supermarket and the corporate staff put pressures on the individual staff working on the floor. That's where I sort of think that there's an issue, because those corporate staff they don't know what it's like on the front line where people have to work and do the job. They're just making decisions without much thought as to how it affects the customer. It's all just about bottom line. So yeah, I do understand that it's not really the fault of the employee that's walking around picking the items, but it still infringes on my personal space, and I'm not too appreciative of that. Purchasing limits. One of the issues, I guess, with online purchasing that I've had is that if I want to buy multiple of a certain product, there may be a small limit. For instance, if I wanted to buy 15 bottles of Diet Coke, it's on sale, I wanted to take advantage of that sale, they may limit me to only 12 bottles, whereas if I go in store I can pick as much as I'd like, or within the limits of what they've actually got. You are stuck just receiving smaller limits, and if you want more, then you might have to make a separate purchase, which of course can get, I guess, extra delivery fees. So you could be doubling up on your delivery fees just because you want more of a specific product. Courtesy has given way to delivery, click and collect, and direct to boot pressures. Of course, once again, we talk about what we've had, I guess, a few times, is the time pressures that staff will get. The courtesy sort of goes out the window. Myself, I've had situations where I've been there with a trolley and a staff member might be doing something, and I wait for them to move out the way or give them the time to move some sort of card or food around, and the next thing you know, a click and collect staff member just zips through, knowing that you've waited for that person to move out the way and you've given them a bit of courtesy yourself. The staff member will just zip through and think, there's my opportunity to get through and keep moving. I think that's another issue, that because of the time pressures are placed on staff, that they've really lost the plot for the in-store customer, where they don't care about the well-being of the in-store customer. It's just get the job done, don't worry about it, the customer's going to be there, they'll keep shopping, they'll spend their time if they want the products, you just get your job done, and we don't worry about how the in-store customer is affected. So there's a number of pros and cons when it comes to your online shopping. How can supermarkets better themselves to deal with it? Well, they can produce or manufacture more CFCs and MFCs. Now, CFCs are customer fulfillment centres, and then an MFC is a micro fulfillment centre. They're centres that are specifically made to fulfill things like deliveries, rather than having to go and get a delivery option and fulfill that element within just a local store. They can use one of the CFCs or MFCs to be able to fulfill the delivery option. Specifically for the delivery options is a thing that I think would be better done with a CFC or MFC. I understand, and I think most would, that the click and collect and direct to boot has to be done locally at the store to the benefit, but obviously they create the time frames, they create the efficiencies. The next thing I think would be nice is if staff could get in early before customers come, so before the official opening time, to fulfill the overnight orders, which I can imagine will be the majority of the work that's done, of course, in the morning. All throughout the day, they're going to have click and collect and direct to boot. They've got the time frames that you can do that, so they can minimise the disruption to customers. But certainly the overnight orders, which would be substantial, should be filled by staff prior to the store opening to enable and ensure minimum disruption. But of course, the supermarket's just going to see that as bottom line, and they're not going to really care too much enough for customer care. what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to put your comments down below, just so that we can get your ideas, how you guys have had to deal with the issues of the pros and cons of online shopping. What we're going to do is we're going to have a look at a couple of examples of what you're going to expect to see on a website portal and what to be aware of. Okay, our first example of an online sale is this Bref toilet cleaner. You can see clearly in the circle at the top, it's got online and it's half price. It's clearly written, easy to understand. I've seen these online sale options before, and sometimes I've found, I don't know if it's just me and I'm losing my mind, but sometimes I've seen that it is a sale that looks like it's in store, and next thing you know, you go in store and it's an online sale. The price is different in store, and I'm sure that it was an in-store sale because it doesn't have online only on it. You can always check your online just before you go shopping to ensure that it still is an in-store sale and it hasn't been updated to show online sale only. So that's one thing to consider. Even though you've seen it and you say, oh look, this is an in-store item, before you go shopping, when you've done your online shopping list, you can just have a look and make sure it is. But I guess the one thing you can do, of course, is when you get to the store, if you've got a mobile phone, you can always check it while you're in store as well, especially if you get to that item and it doesn't say anything about a half price item. But when I'm saying that, also you'll find that quite often when you've got a catalogue special, it hasn't been updated in store. You have to sometimes go to the register just to check to see that the price is what you'd expect it to be, because sometimes the supermarket or the location of the supermarket hasn't updated the dockets for each item. It happens quite often, especially the day, of course, that the sale starts. Quite often we get sales that start on a Wednesday and the dockets won't exactly be updated if you go to the supermarket early in the morning. That's one thing to consider. The next thing we look at and we can see is the Pino Clean. The Pino Clean, as you can see, it's also got the little online option at the top. So you can see it's an online only sale at the top. Once again, same idea as the other supermarket that we just previewed. It's pretty clear and pretty straightforward. Like I said before, you can see these things online and you're sure that, hey, this was an in-store sale. But depending on when, I guess, the site's updated, can depend on what you are sort of situated with at the supermarket. And, obviously once you're at the supermarket, you want the item, then you can be, in a situation where you say, well, look, I can't be bothered mucking around, I'm just going to pay the full price for it, even though I either have made a mistake or it's been updated, I've just got to get it anyway. And that's obviously something you're confronted with. Alright, I hope everyone liked the video and got some benefit out of what we've discussed today. Once again, please put your comments down below so that we can get some further ideas and what your thoughts are, and we might do another video on it if there's a sufficient amount of comments that are beneficial. Please like and subscribe, click on the notification bell, and we'll see you again in the next video.